Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week I'm helping my dad, or my dad's helping me, I don't know which way around it is. But we're going to put these bogie axles onto a straw trailer. So these axles came from an auction, I think, from York Machinery Sale. My dad's been through all the brakes and done all the brakes, put new brake shoes in it, or got them relined. Obviously the rams are missing yet, so there's new rams to go on. But what I need to do is make a frame for this to pivot off, and then this will be going underneath a straw trailer. So the straw trailer that they're going on is a bit agricultural. It looks like it's been made by a farmer. But it's not bad, it's a nice strong trailer, but it's only got one axle on it. Well, it originally had two axles on, but both axles were welded onto the chassis of the trailer, so it had no pivot or anything. So my dad took the axles off and just put one axle on, just temporarily, just so we could use it. Anyways, bought these, so now we're going to put these on. So with these on, it'll be a lot more stable because you've got some pivot in your axles, and also you're spreading the weight over 4 wheels instead of 2 wheels. So it was sinking in a bit before just with one axle on. So my dad's just bringing the wheels around at the moment. We'll bolt the wheels on and then work out how wide it needs to be to fit under the chassis. Right, so this is the trailer that we're going to put the axles on. So it doesn't look much, but it is pretty strong. It's been an old, well, by the look of it, it's been an old roll-on, roll-off top chassis, and then someone's built a chassis underneath for it to sit on. So it's like a double chassis trailer, so it is pretty strong. But yeah, we're going to take this axle off and then put them bogie axles underneath there. It is only for our own use, just around our own fields. It's not really going to do any road work or anything, so it doesn't need to be anything too flash. Can't use them wheels that we were planning on using because they have too much offset. They have like 13mm offset, 13-inch offset. Then if you measure 13-inch offset onto there, it's going to catch on there before it's bolted on. So yeah, we'll have to find some standard agricultural wheels rather than, I think they're like front wheels off a wagon. Right, so we have 2 spare like trailer wheels, so we can use them. And I've measured the offset on the wheels on the trailer now, and they have the same offset, so we've got 4 wheels the same. So what I need to do now is set this up so the wheel centers are the same as what's on the trailer, and then I can work out what I'm going to use for the box section across there and how wide it needs to be and all the pivots. So there'll be a pivot on the outside, well, there'll be a pivot on the outside, pivot there, 2 pivots there, 2 pivots there, pivot there, and a pivot on the outside. So that'll be 8 in total. So yeah, I'll get all that worked out and drawn up, and then we'll either plasma cut or flame cut some plates out. So we're just going to go and put the trailer in the shed and turn it upside down, and then my dad can be chopping the axles off while I get the bits cut out to mount the axle onto. afterwards. Planning on tipping it over. There we go, she's over. Yeah,
Pipes.
yeah, just them welds to cut off. So you put this axle on, came with 2 axles on, didn't it? And then you swapped it and put this one on.
The 2 fixed ones. This one is a temporary fix really, just so we could use the trailer.
So while my dad's getting the axle cut off, we'll cut out these plates, these axle plates for the pivots. So there'll be 6 like that gets welded around a bit of 120, be 120, be 10 box section, and then there'll be 2 like that gets welded on the end. So I'm going to flame cut these out. I know it's only 20mm, I can cut that with plasma, but I'm going to flame cut them out because I can cut a lot neater holes with flame cutting than I can with a plasma, and hopefully if the holes are bang on I won't have to bar them out or do anything with them. So it doesn't matter if they're a little bit loose because, like I say, it's an old trailer, so we just want to sort of get it done as quick and as best as possible. So if I don't have to spend any time sorting the holes out, I can just flame cut them out and the pin will fit straight through. Then that'll save me a lot of time. I've just cut this one out and I've just taken it out and checked the hole, and the hole is about 1/2 mm too small, so I've just altered the drawing, made the hole 1/2 mm bigger. So hopefully once they're cut out they won't need anything doing with them. Might need a bit cleaning up, but yeah, plan is not to have to do anything with them. them cut out. It definitely would have been faster with the plasma, but look at them holes, they're absolutely perfect. So you'd have struggled to get, well I would have done anyway, to get a hole as nice as that with my plasma cutter. That's a bit of 2-inch shaft there that I'm going to use for the pin. That nearly fits on, it just wants a tiny bit taken out with a die grinder. Probably would knock on, to be fair, if I knocked it on, but I'll just give it a little bit of a clean up and then they should be good. So then this shaft is just doing it at the moment to stop the axles tipping over because all the weight's on one side, but then they'll go on there like that, then weld to the box section that goes across the top that will get welded onto the trailer chassis. Now these are the middle ones, and then the end ones don't have the square cut out of them. So I'm just quickly giving these a tickle through with a 2-inch reamer, just to take that last little bit out that I was struggling with the diagram. Well, not struggling, but it's just quicker. Only takes sort of 30 seconds to run the reamer through each one. Right, so that's all in reamered through, so they're all sorted now. I'll have to grind a bit off there when I weld it on. But yeah, they're all sorted now. Just need a bit of box section, so I'll have to get that bit down. I put that bit up there, I got it for a job, and then I put it up there thinking I'm not going to use it again for a long time. And now I need it, so I'll have to lift it up at one end, put something underneath it, and then reach over the tines and lift it down. But it's a big heavy lump, it's 120 by 120 by 10 box section. Right, so I've got the pin cut. It's going to be one pin all the way through. Well, I might cut it in half once I've got it on, but one pin to line them all up. Got the box section cut. So now we can start putting these onto this box section. Now ideally you'd weld all them on and then you'd line bar them through afterwards, but this is a bit more farm engineering, so yeah, we're not going to line bar them. We'll just, hopefully they won't pull too much when I weld them on. It might bow the box section a little bit. I might have to warm a bit up on the other side to straighten it again so the pin will fit through, but it's just saves time having to line bar. So I've got all them tacked on. It was a bit fiddly getting the spaces right because you try and shuffle them along and it sort of jams on the pin a bit. So I sprayed some spray on them and they'll slide in a bit better. But yeah, I've got all them set out. So they're all tacked on. It has just nipped the pin a little bit. The pin, I can't spin it by hand anymore, but I can spin it. If I put a pair of mole grips on the end, I can spin it. And if I hit it on the end, it knocks in and out nice and easy still, so I'm not too concerned about that. When you're tacking so many of these on like that on a shaft, it would be very difficult to tack them on and still have the pin nice and free to turn. So, but all the pivoting happens on there anyway, so this pin should be fixed in here. So that's not really going to be a problem as long as I can get the pin in and out, and as long as it doesn't pull too much more when I weld it up, which it probably will do. But yeah, we'll clamp it down well and it'll be alright. We'll make it work. So that's all welded on. I don't know how hopeful I am of the pin fitting again without having to make it fit, but it definitely should have been a line barring job. But then I don't have a barring bar that's long enough and small enough diameter to have been able to line bar it anyway. I'd have had to either get another bar or make one. Yes, it is sort of a nightmare having that many holes all in one line when you're welding. Anyway, we'll let it cool down and see what it's like. So I've unclamped this from the bench now and I put a straight edge through there, and you can see it's not touching on there now, so it has bowed it, which I thought it would do. So we'll turn it the other way over and then we'll warm up a few spots like opposite to where I've welded on the other side, and hopefully we can straighten it out a little bit. So I heated up 4 spots on the back of there. So we'll let that cool down, see if that's straightened it or not. Might have to do a longer, like, hot area, and then might come to this end as well. Right, so that's better than it was. It's not easy holding the straight edge with one hand, but it is sort of very nearly touching on the bottom of them holes now. Not quite. I mean, straight edge is not long enough to go all the way through, but I think I'll do another. I'll get them spots a little bit hotter in a bigger area than I did last time. I only sort of did a little red spot. I don't know whether to do one there as well. I think I'll just do one in the middle rather than them too close together. Yeah, I'll try that, do one in the middle, do that one again, and that one again, and then see what it looks like after that. Right, so just waiting for this to cool down again. I did another heat spot there and there, and then I've tipped it up that way so the bench draws the heat out of it faster. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to chop that pin in half. So there's 2 pins, so I've only got to go through 4 of these, and then the pin will stop there. There'll be collar in the middle with a bolt through to hold the pin in. Same on that side. And then I'll put a square on the end of the pin and a flat on here to stop the pin moving in these. And I'll probably drill and tap an M16 hole in the end of the pin. So if I ever need to get the pins out again, I can use a hollow jack to pull them back out. So I've got them pins chopped in half and I've drilled them out. I drilled them out M20. So it's a bit stronger than M16. Then I've plasmed these out. So these will weld on the end there like that. And plasmed these flats out so they'll weld onto there to stop the pin turning. And then I just need to drill a hole in the end. I'll put an M12 bolt through the end, and I think I'll just plasma a big washer out rather than a collar. Be a bit quicker. And then there'll just be a washer and a bolt to hold the pin in. I've got them holes drilled in the end of them pins for the bolt to go through. My dad's just on with these brakes. We're putting bigger. We got them from. Do you get them from Merton as well? Yeah. We're putting bigger, well, new brake rams on, but they won't quite fit, so he had to widen that out and then grind a bit off the side of the rams over here to get that to fit in there. And then there to move around on the splines because they're obviously at the wrong angle. They must have been adjusted up like that when the shoes were worn out.
The shoes are completely worn out, all metal to metal now. They're new brake linings on something else.
It's come undone anyway. I've got all the new brake rams on now and all the return springs on, so I think we can put this on. I've given that a quick spray over with red paint where we won't be able to get to it when it's on there. So yeah, I think we can put that on now. Now that pin doesn't actually fit too bad now. I've got it heat straightened. It'll go through, goes through 3 of them all right. Whether it'll go through the 4th one, that's fairly good as well. Well, not through there. It's not quite. See, it's a little bit out, but I think it'll knock through. It's a lot better than it was before I flame straightened it. Right, so I've had a little bit of a setback here. We thought the bushes were 2-inch bushes, but then when we come to put the pin in, the pin wouldn't fit. So I've measured them, and it turns out I think the 50mm, the pin originally would have been 50mm, and then the bushes have a little bit of clearance. But when we've knocked them out, they're not very good anyway. They're broken, and you can see they're quite worn. Some of them are quite worn. So they want new bushes putting in anyway, so yeah, we'll either make some bushes for it, or we'll see if we can buy some. I don't know if we'll be able to buy any or not, because it'll be a Imperial OD. I think they're like 60mm OD, and then there will have been 50mm ID. But now we're onto a 2-inch, so I might have to make some. Right, so I've got all the old bushes knocked out now, and my dad's been making some new ones. Well, they're just mild steel bushes. It's actually an old ram cylinder that he found that was the right outside diameter to fit in there, and then he's just taken a bit out with the lathe to get them to fit the pin, so they should do. Cheap and cheerful. Yeah, they'll do for this job. So some of these, they seem like they're a little bit worn, where you can see there. So these are not ideal. It's not easy to get a measurement of them, but I think if I press them in, they should be all right. I don't know whether I might need a little bit taken off the outside diameter to fit in the ones that are not worn. Don't know. See how we get on. So I've got myself some little hollow jacks now. I've got a 20-ton one, and I've also got a 30-ton one over there. So we'll use this to press these bushes in. These are an Alpha Press make. If you're after any hollow jacks, I got these off presstools.co.uk. I'll put the website either on screen or in the description. They gave me quite a good deal on them, so give them a shout out. Convertible, isn't it? Right, so we're having a bit of a nightmare with these bushes. So I've got that one in, I've got that one in. Then when you look at this side, well, you won't be able to see very well on camera, but it's a long way off the centre of there. There's a big gap at the bottom and a small gap at the top. So when we put the bushes in there, this pin is not going to fit through both sets of bushes. We've already got enough slack on there, we can't really go any bigger with these bushes, otherwise the pin will be too slack. That's sort of slack enough as it is. So I think originally these must have had individual pins for each pivot. So I could line bore it through, but it doesn't really justify the time spent line boring. So yeah, I think the best and cheapest option is just to have 4 pins. Yeah, right, so we've got them bushes put in there now, so when you slide the pin through, you can see how far out the line it is there. That's never going to fit. So, yeah, that's why we're going to have to do 4 individual pins, because that's just poor engineering from new. So I've got 4 individual pins made now. I've drilled and tapped one end, M16, and then the bolt will go in there with a big washer on the end that will hold the pin in. And then the other end I've drilled out M20, drilled and tapped M20, so if you ever need to pull them out, you can use a hollow ram. They just help to pull them out if they've got a thread or something on one end. So yeah, I'll weld them round now. So we've got 1 set of pins in now. They're still, even with 2 individual pins, they still don't line up very good. What I should have done was just line bored this through. But you don't expect something that's been manufactured to be so far out. I think what they'll have done when they made this is they'll have had everything put together and then welded it up with the pins in. So anyway, we're getting there. Just got these 2 pins to put in now. We've got them other 2 pins in now, and then I'm going to weld these on here like that to stop these outside pins turning. Them inside pins I can't turn, well they'll turn a little bit, but they're up again there. And then there's a big washer and a bolt to hold the pins in. And I need to weld across there as well. I forgot to weld across there, so I'll do that now. Right, so that's that ready to go now. So they're welded on, everything's welded up. I've welded up the bits I forgot. Changed that ram over, down a hole, and then I've got a big washer and a bolt that holds all them pins in. So yeah, that should all be good. So it is quite tight on the pivots, but like I say, we couldn't have made the bushes any slacker because they've been too slack. So it's just these haven't been made right from new, which if I'd have known that from the start, I'd have just line bored them through. But anyway, it should wear itself in as long as I keep it plenty greased. So that's all ready to take around to the trailer now to weld on. I'm only going to tack it on the trailer around there. Well, I'll put a few runs of weld on while it's around there, but then I'll bring the whole trailer around to the workshop and brace it all up properly. But just to weld it on round there, I'm going to use this little Jassic. So Jassic have sent me these for free to but yeah, they just want to see it being used in sort of real world situations, so it'll be a good opportunity to give it its first try. So it's a little 200 amp inverter MIG. It's a little bit on the small side for what I usually use, but it's a handy little size. Only trouble is round there where we're working on the trailer, we don't have a 32 amp power supply, so I'm going to be running it off a 13 amp. So we'll see how it goes on 13 amp. But yeah, it looks a nice little welder. The only thing I've noticed is it doesn't have a very good duty cycle at 200 amp. It's only got a 25% duty cycle, so you won't be able to do much with it flat out before it needs time to cool down again. got that sat on there. We just need to square it up and get it centralised, make sure it's going to run straight. Then we'll clamp it on and then weld it on. We'll have to have some stops. We'll have to make some stops of some kind in here. Well, the wheel will be touching on there before it gets that far, but yeah, we'll have to weld some stops in as well. So I think we've got that on straight now. We've taken various measurements from different places, and then we've put a string line from the back across like the face of the hubs up to the front, and then we've measured off the drawbar at both sides, and that seems to be running true with the drawbar, but then we don't necessarily know if the drawbar's on straight. But yeah, we've taken as many measurements as we can from different places. It seems like it's on straight, so take the forklift off, or take the strap off, and then we'll bring a gas bottle around for a little welder, and then I'll weld it on where it is. Right, so I've just got that axle tacked on, but I don't think I'm happy with it like that. I think there's too much, the axle's going to be too high, the trailer's going to be too high. I think it's going to want some notching out of the chassis, sink that box section into the chassis, because when you measure like the axle height off the old axle and what this one is now, this is like 100 mil. The trailer's going to be 100 mil higher than what it was originally, which is quite a lot, especially for a straw trailer. So I think that box section wants notching into that chassis about 100 mil. So I've got that marked on the chassis. I'm going to cut that out now, both sides. I'm going to take 90 mil out. I brought the gas bottles round, so we'll just quickly cut them out. I think I'm going to move it forward as well a bit, because it's just easier moving it forward than it is lifting all that lot off, cutting out there. So we'll just chop them out, chop the axle off, or nick through them tacks, slide it forward, drop it in, and then shouldn't take too much doing. Right, so we've got the axle sat in the chassis now, so I'm a lot happy with that. It's lower and get a lot more weld round the chassis as well, around the axle, or around the beam. So yeah, we can weld that on now. A few gaps to fill around there, but that shouldn't be a problem. Be able to fill them in. But yeah, that should weld on nice now. Might want a few more strengthening bits on once I've got this welded on initially, but we'll worry about that later. Just done one weld across there just to fill a gap. There's a bit of a gap, same as what there is at that side, sort of a 5mm gap. And we're running 150 amp, 19.8 volts. So I'm in synergic mode at the moment, or you can have it in that mode so you can set your own wire feed or meters per minute or voltage. See, I've just got it in that mode, set 150 amps. And then I'm running 0.8 wire, and then I'm using Energas heavy, so that's 80% argon, 20% CO2, and then I'm on that mode, so when I pull the trigger and let go, it carries on welding. That's what that means. So yeah, let's see how that goes. It's through a 32 amp extension, but it's only plugged into a 13 amp socket. I don't know whether it has a 13 amp fuse in it or not, but that's a different story. Yeah, see how we get on. Right, so that is that welded on now. Little drastic did well. Didn't melt the socket and it didn't reach its duty cycle. So that's good. When you're on 0.8mm wire though, you can only go up to 185 amps. It won't let you go any higher. If you change it onto 1mm wire, then you can go up all the way up to 200 amps. Yeah, seem to have plenty of power. So I welded vertical up around there. I did that at I think 18 volts and 8.5 meters a minute wire, and the top I did at 185 amps. I did that in synergic mode, so just turned it up to 185 amps, and then that I did in the other mode where you can set your own voltage and your own wire speed. And then I've got welded round underneath. Some of these I might go over again when it's the right way up with a bigger welder. There on the top of there, so decent welds it's laid. And then same again, vertical up there and underneath there. So yeah, that's our welded on now. I think them welds will be stronger than the welds that hold the rest of the trailer together anyway. So whether I brace the axle up some more, I'm not sure. But that'll do for now anyway, until we get it tipped back up the right way. I think while we're on with it, we're also going to put a longer drawbar on, or a better drawbar, because the ring is about worn out. and it's not long enough. When you're turning, your tractor wheel catches on here and here, so it wants to be another 1.5 to 2 foot longer. But I think I can get all this stuff tidied away now. I was hoping we'd have the wheels back on and have the trailer back the right way up, but it took a bit longer than expected, with them pivots not being quite right and having to make 4 separate pins and bushes and what have you. I thought the bushes would have been alright. We didn't expect to have to make new bushes for it. So yeah, it's taking a little bit longer than expected. But yeah, if you're interested in seeing any more of this, let me know and I'll do a part 2 of doing the drawbar and either finish bracing the axle up or probably put the wheels back on and turn it the right way up. Yeah, that's all really I've got time for this week. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.